Hey, what's with people? What's with people saying that something is like that's fire? What is that? When did that start?
That started like 10 years ago.
Yeah, a while ago.
Did it?
Wait till you hear about lit.
No, I mean I've heard
bling. Have you heard bling?
I've heard bling. I haven't been under a rock.
Grandpa, have you heard of the word cool?
Yeah, I heard of cool. Yeah, Grandpa. As in like wearing my wife's sunglasses is cool.
Well, you're so cool, it doesn't matter. See, that's the thing, right?
How long have we been doing this show?
3 years.
Yeah.
Almost 3 years in December. Yeah.
Okay. So it's 3 years that I forget to bring my own sunglasses out to the bed.
I think what that means is you don't care.
Well, I mean, I'm literally phoning it in. Like, you're gonna hate me. You're gonna hate me right now. What's the topic today?
Oh
no. That's okay. That's okay.
We were gonna talk about fascist states and Star Trek.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Dude, I almost sent you guys this video that I found last night, but it was too late to change the topic. They were going through.
Clearly, it isn't.
Clearly, it's not. Yeah.
Yeah. They were going through if the Trill are like the puppet masters of the Federation, and they had all these like evidence from the shows, and it was kind of cool.
Yeah. I'll have to watch that. Yeah, send that link over in the group chat. And then,
yeah, we'll.
I'll watch that. That sounds like fun. That sounds like fun. Okay, so with that said, because I'm in the middle of like 9 million things already this morning, because that's the way my week is going. Yeah, I mean, you won't even believe. I'll let you guys know. But anyway, so let's just get into it.
Yeah.
Space, the final frontier.
Oh, you got the long one.
It's a classic at this point.
The Federation does have enemies. We must seek them out.
If we're all here, we're soon. Captain soon.
But we can only look forward.
Warning! Warning!
We have to be torchbearers, casting the light so we may see our path to lasting peace. We will continue exploring, discovering new worlds, new civilizations.
Is that all this meant to you? Just another spatial anomaly, just another day at the office.
Do you ever see Star Trek?
You?
The three of us.
Every day.
And millions of primitive humans. I like those odds.
I thought that was the one that kind of started to fade out, and I had
no,
it wasn't 3 minutes. This is the long one, so I can hit play and keep going, or we can just say,
we just keep going.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you mean move past the intro?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I wasn't sure what you meant when you said that. Anyway, so ladies and gentlemen, the well-oiled machine that is Trekcast, the galaxy's most unpredictable Star Trek podcast. We prove it on a weekly basis from 1 week to the next, or every other week, or on a 3-week hiatus when we forget there's a holiday. So welcome again. Here we are. That's Dan Lombardo. That's Daniel Reyes, and I am Chad Waldo. So what's been going on the last week with you guys before I get into my you'll want to shut me up what's happened with me this week? So
oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Yeah, I had a couple big things.
Oh, yeah?
We have a rental property that I lived in.
Yeah.
When I was a bachelor, and we've had it for years as a rental, and finally sold it.
Oh, nice.
2 weeks ago. Yeah. And then I got promoted at work a couple days ago. So
Colonel.
That's right.
Yep.
I can't wait for Space Fried Chicken.
We can't call you Commander because we have a Commander Felton. So yeah.
I'm Space Force Colonel.
Yep.
But I'm like Colonel Ty from Battlestar Galactica. I got an eye patch and a piss poor attitude. It's great. And I say fracking all the time.
You gotta love that guy.
That guy was great.
What else? Like a pool, not like a full size pool, but like a 10-foot, put it together for the kids pool. Bought that before I realized we were going to sell the property and get a promotion. If I do that, maybe I would have called and had an estimate on getting the real thing. But the kids are super excited about that. I am super excited about Las Vegas in August.
Yep.
And yeah, that's
cool.
That's all that's going on with me.
Well, congratulations again. I know I already said that, but I mean that's always a big thing when you get a promotion. It's
thank you.
Even if it's in the same field, or the same type of thing, like it's a different feeling, right? It makes your job feel different.
Yeah.
Obviously, your job is different because it's a little bit different role, but I mean, you know what I'm getting at. So that's cool. That's cool. Good for you, man.
Thank you.
We've been preparing. We're having a big family reunion up here, so a lot of my family from California are coming up next week.
Yeah.
They're going to be here for like a week and a half. And it's going to be nuts. We're going to definitely increase the amount of Mexicans in Idaho by several percentage points.
They're not moving out of California to come to Idaho to stay like everybody else?
No. They're just coming to visit.
Yeah.
My uncle already did that. He moved up here a while ago.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's too bad. We got to start the Exit California campaign or something, for everybody who needs help doing it. Raise a
everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere.
It's so big, Mike. Yeah, well, because a lot of people can work from home now. So why would you live in an expensive state when you can just?
That is part of the housing. Yeah, that is part of the housing problem. Yep, that's part of it in California. But California, Illinois, and New York State have been losing their population. They've been in the negative for population growth anyway for over 10 years almost. I mean, straight.
Haven't we as a country been that way too? Like I read somewhere that the birthing rate is actually down and has been for a while.
It's down and it has been for a while, but it's still at like 2.2. And if you look at some of the research and little scientific papers about
inflation is good.
If you look at the scientific papers and research about what it takes to sustain a culture or to sustain a society, then the birth rate has to be at 2.1 or higher. And in Europe, it's not. It's like at 1.6 or something like that.
Oh, yeah. They want them. They want the babies.
Yep. And here we're okay with that part of it. But a lot of that has to do as well with immigration, too. So no, those three states have been in decline. There's a few other states that have been in decline as well for different reasons. Nebraska, one of them, for different reasons because it's Nebraska. So I love Nebraska, but I mean, seriously, I go there all the time. But there's nothing there. So anyway.
What is the state that you like? When you know you got to go there, you're just like, damn it.
North and South Dakota.
Really?
My Lord.
Here's the thing, though. Do we need a North and South?
No.
I mean, come on. It should
just be Dakota. It should just be Dakota. There is a difference. It's very odd when you travel around from state to state, even ones that are right next to one another and here in the Midwest. It is a very different thing from one state to the next. So
New Jersey is like the armpit of New York. Okay.
It looks like
but when you cross into New Jersey, there are very distinct differences. You'll immediately see there's a lot of places where you cross from New York to New Jersey in a residential area. So, your neighbor next door is in New Jersey, but you're in New York. But there's like a distinct difference between the sidewalks. Right in front of the house, it changes from this type of concrete to that type of concrete. Or you go over the state line and it's like, boom, we're on different pavement now because this, it's a county road in New York and it's a state highway in New Jersey or whatever. But even things like New Jersey, they don't make left turns.
Yeah.
Everything is a jug handle turn. You will take a right hand exit and you will basically make three right-hand turns and cross that road either on an underpass or an overpass or at a four-way traffic signal. Nobody makes left-hand turns across a highway. And I guess the idea is less accidents, making a left at an intersection. But
well, when you're on a major road or a highway and you suddenly have to make a left on a highway, that always throws me. And I have to do that in multiple states. So some places do that, some places don't. Some places love roundabouts. Some places because they're fascist. Other places like stoplights, like real people. So
Idaho loves the roundabouts.
Yeah, New York is getting a lot of roundabouts.
Yeah,
and they're fine if you know how to use them. Like when they put a new one in town, it's a shit show for about a year until people realize how it works. And it's a really simple concept. Once you understand the concept, it's really simple. You yield on the way in, you have the right of way on the way out. It's really that simple.
Yeah, that's it. But what's bad is the planners around here where I live in Lee Summit have decided that roundabouts are so cool and they're so easy and they're so great. We're going to put 2 or 3 of them in a fucking row.
We got
what in the hell?
Welcome to Trekcast.
So now you've got a highway. It's true though, right? So now you've got a highway, and when you exit or enter onto that highway, you go through 2 roundabouts, one on either side to get on or off. Let's make it worse. Let's make it a diverging diamond on top of that, right? Yeah. So that way you're driving on the left-hand side of the fucking street instead of the right hand. I mean, someone modeled that.
This show, Old Men Yell
at Lawn. I know. Someone did a modeling thing of that. Someone with a PhD in no common sense, probably went to Yale, did some sort of traffic study on a computer and found out that was the best traffic flow on a computer model, and therefore they started to adopt that, not realizing that people are not fucking computer models. So anyway, that's enough of my rant on Trekcast.
So New Jersey, up until very recently, you could not pump your own gas.
Oh yeah,
in New Jersey.
Oregon's
you're telling me that. That's weird.
All gas stations, full service.
Yeah.
Okay, not a big deal. Until you've never been to New Jersey before and you pull in, hop out, start pumping your own gas, and the attendant runs over, screaming and yelling like you just committed a felony or something.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Yeah, Oregon's that way. One of you were talking about differences when you go into different states. In Idaho compared to Washington, especially in the winter, Idaho doesn't plow their highway as regularly as Washington. So right at the state line, you can tell the difference in the winter.
There are parts of New York that are like that. I've been to Plattsburgh, which is about 40 miles shy of the Canadian border. Mm-hmm. And it's like there's always a layer of snow on the ground in all the parking lots. And it's because you're never going to get it all. They've decided you're never going to get it all. You're never going to get it all. So stop trying. Wait until it accumulates enough. But yeah, so parking is ridiculous because when you can't see the lines, people just start making shit up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when you can't see the lines, you base where you park off of where the last guy parked. And he's basing it off of where the last guy parked, and he's basing it off the last guy parked. So chaos. Sometimes it's chaos, but you'll come out and it's like you'll see one car and everyone around them has left. So there's no frame of reference as to how this car and why this car is where it is, just in the middle of this parking lot.
And then there's the Walmart parking lot, which is that way anyways. The lines don't matter.
That's true.
I don't go to Walmart other than to pull up to their pickup thing, pop my trunk, they throw my stuff in, I leave. That's it.
They're upsetting
to go inside.
They're upsetting me lately at Walmart. They have come back heavy with the "Can I see your receipt?" guy at the door, and some of them are more aggressive than others. And I don't do that. I don't have to. The law doesn't say I have to. I'm polite about it. I say, no, thank you. And I keep walking, and 8 out of 10 times that's it. But every once in a while, you get some misinformed employee who, it's his mission in life to see your receipt.
Paul Blart Mall Cop on you?
Yeah.
Right.
And I had a guy a couple weeks ago, and he's like, you have to show me your receipt. I'm like, no, I don't. I don't have to show you my receipt. I don't have to show you what's in my bag. I do not have to do that. And you can't keep me here. And it's the law. It's not the law. It's not the law. My wife got harassed the other day. So yeah, next time I'm up at Walmart, I'm gonna be having a conversation with somebody.
Yeah. That's the way she goes.
To the news.
Yep, let's get to the news. We can skip my shit for some other time.
Attention all hands. It's time for Star Trek news.
All right,
Daniel-san.
So our first news story comes to us from the Wall Street Journal, which already is bad news.
Yeah, which often has Star Trek news, but go ahead.
The Wall Street Journal.
Yeah, surprisingly, it kind of does. So there is potential plans between Comcast and Paramount Plus to potentially merge and become a super streamer. So apparently,
they'll rename it again.
Yeah, it'll be Peacock Plus.
Oh God,
Paracom.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's NBC.
Paracock.
Paracock.
Comcast is NBC. All right. So that would be a significant. Yeah, because NBC is Universal also, right?
Yes. Yeah, that's wow. I mean, so that's a lot of stuff that's big, but at the same time, it's kind of like, God, how can you just constantly keep changing the name of your service and its plans? And, I mean, Jesus. So
before you get too wound up, this is just an idea, right?
Oh, so
they even
talks.
say in the article, like,
talks. I'm sorry.
Yeah, in the article they even say, like, it's an idea. There's even talk about maybe Comcast will buy Roku, that company, and create their streamer through Roku, because that would automatically put them into millions of homes across the country because it sticks. So really, it honestly, it just sounds like this guy is spitballing. People got wind of it, and now it's.
So hold on a second. You just told me, hold on before you get carried away. So that makes you the 16th person this week in my life to tell me to not make decisions based on emotion. So apparently I have that problem where I get too excited or too emotional and too carried away if 16 different people have said something like that to me in one state or the other throughout the course of this week.
No, I don't see that at all.
You don't?
No. No. Not at all.
Do I get so do I get like too carried away sometimes?
Yes.
I do? Oh man. I had no clue. Yeah,
hey, we all learn about ourselves. This is a learning moment, Chad.
This is a learning moment.
Yeah, that's good.
Maybe you know what the problem is? I'm too passionate about the things that I care about. And for some fucking reason I care about two companies that are going to merge into a streaming service.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, Chad. How many times this week did you tell someone that you're going to go out and buy an F-15 and a nuclear missile?
Oh man, a lot.
All right.
Yeah.
Case in point.
Because that is apparently that's all it takes. I mean, the F-15 market really shot up this week. I mean, that's all it takes. I'm not sure how you can equate that to January 6th, but so.
Anyway,
continue with the news.
Yeah. Continue.
Okay. Our next news story.
Blood's pumping, man.
Our next news story comes to us. We got a couple actually from Twitter, and we got an update on the Orville season 3. Remember that show?
Oh shit! Yeah. Let's go.
Yeah. So the executive producer, or one of them, John Kaser, posted on Twitter recently, just a few days ago, that yes, they are still in production, and had a shot of the set. Here. Yeah. It's very much that, like, please don't forget about us. It's been so long.
Yeah.
They keep saying the same thing, that it's the prosthetics and the special effects that take so long, but honestly, tons of shows have prosthetics and special effects. So
yeah, their prosthetics and special effects are nowhere as good as what we're seeing out of Trek. So
yeah.
So I mean,
I know
you're talking about the Orville.
Yeah.
You're saying the prosthetics aren't good on the Orville.
I'm saying they're not as good, and the special effects are not as good as what they are with what we're getting out of Trek so far.
Okay. All right.
That's my opinion.
Hi, I'm Dan.
Oh, I'm not saying the characters aren't better, because they most certainly are. And his prosthetics are great. Don't get me wrong. I think just the look and the feel and the level of sophistication is a world above on Trek than what it is on the Orville. But I think that's by design. I don't think they're trying to make it look great.
The Orville is trying to look like 1990s Trek, and they're succeeding.
Yep. And they're succeeding. That's correct. Yeah, exactly. So for what they're trying to do, they're doing it very well.
Yeah. My concern is I think we are seeing a very clear case of they're overthinking it. And that's part of why it's taking so long. Like maybe they overthought the scripts, they're overthinking the prosthetics. Oh, we don't like that. It's off by a millimeter. Let's do it again.
Well, because they have time. Because they have time to overthink it.
Right.
They've had those people working on that part of it had time to continue to work while the other half of it has had to stop. So I think that's a problem.
I hope this season they knock it out of the park.
I hope so too.
Because if they don't after a 2-year hiatus, and then they have a slump of a season, it'll be done.
Mm-hmm. And that's probably why they're overthinking it. I mean, they're not stupid. You know, there are some writers and there are some showrunners that you really question how smart they really are. I won't give names. Anyway,
I would be fascinated for behind the scenes in this, because remember too that one guy and Grayson, the first officer, they got married. And then they got divorced.
Oh, I know.
And they're still on the show.
Yeah.
I know. So
that was weird.
And what's her name is supposedly coming back as well. Alston Sage. The security officer.
The security officer, good, because I like her better than her replacement.
Oh, I like her replacement. I like her replacement quite a bit, actually.
Yeah, I like them both.
But I do. I like them both. But I mean, so and she was dating Seth at one point too.
There you go. So, that's why.
So it's interesting. Yeah, something like that.
They made up, and now she can be on the show again.
Now she be on the show again. Yeah.
All right. So our next news story is also from Twitter, and it's a picture that Tawny Newsome put on. She's the voice of Mariner.
Oh yeah.
Apparently, she is working on Space Force Season 2 right now, and the picture is a custom mug that the makeup artists from Space Force put together, and it is the Space Force logo with Lower Decks Mariner on it, and it looks fantastic. The Cerritos is on there too. If you really
she's
look,
doing the whole, it's awesome. It's awesome.
It's a great mug. I mean, I would buy this thing, dude.
It needs to be on sale somewhere. I'd spend $30 on it.
Yeah. Well, Daniel still needs to watch the show. So
exactly.
I'm saying it.
That came out this week. If you, ladies and gentlemen of the Trekcast Nation, if you don't know, Daniel Son here has not watched Space Force all the way through. He didn't even finish the first episode.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to give you an ultimatum. Okay.
Okay.
There's only one episode of Space Force.
Uh-huh.
One season of Space Force.
Uh-huh.
You have to make a choice. You can either watch the full season of Space Force or any other season of Stargate, but you have to do one.
Ooh. Look, I'm trying to go through the Candyman movies right now to get ready for that thing.
Ready for what thing?
What thing?
There's another Candyman coming out.
And?
I gotta be up on my Candyman lore.
Yeah. His partners on CandyCast, they want him to be up to. They want him to be
I gotta know
date.
what Woody Todd is up to with the hook.
Okay.
Yeah. And our last news story comes
to
He just totally said no to you, Dan.
Yeah,
he just kept going.
You can't look at my receipt. I gotta go.
I think
That was perfect. You can't look at my receipt. I gotta go.
That's fine. Yeah. I'm gonna lay on the peer pressure. Anyone listening to this, let Daniel know that he's really doing a disservice to himself, a disservice to the show, and a disservice to the sci-fi community by not watching Space Force. So he should really get his head out of his ass and go watch it.
To quote Rick from Rick and Morty, I've seen what makes your booze mean nothing to me.
Yeah. I got a coffee mug for Father's Day, a Rick and Morty one. I don't have it down here that says something. Your opinions mean nothing to me.
Yeah.
That show is fantastic.
It is a good show. All right, fansided.com. The Star Trek Voyager documentary To the Journey has started shooting, at least in studio now. So that's great. They're doing their sit-down interviews with the cast members and getting that done. So still expected to be released in the fall of 2022. So still a while till we see it, but very exciting. So I just thought I'd give that update too.
Cool.
Yep. And that's it.
Dune's been pushed back to the end of October instead of beginning of October, October 22nd.
Yeah, that's not much of a difference.
Nope. And
I
then
think they're
Foundation
taking it
comes
off
out in September.
HBO Max.
Yep, HBO Max and Foundation on Apple TV, and I thought they said September.
Oh, okay.
They're going to release that earlier than what they initially said because that was going to be the end of the year. Now it's going to be September. Those are going to be those are going to be awesome. Those are just going to be awesome. So if you've never read Foundation, the Isaac Asimov series of books, man, you talk about epic. So even though Dune is epic, it kind of makes Dune look silly in terms of just its scope. Yeah, it's scope and scale. No. So, okay, moving on to feedback.
Hailing frequencies. Open.
So no new coffee account donations since our last show. Our last one was 8 days ago by Taryn, Snuzzlefeet, and Eric Woods right before the show. So we appreciate last week. So we appreciate that, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Shout out. The coffee account is ko-fi/trekcast.com/trekcast. So that's where the coffee account is. All that money is going to go towards something in Vegas. Who knows what? So
one big bet.
Booze and tattoos.
Yeah, tattoos and a bet. Yeah, tattoos and a bet. Oh shit. On the email side, did I read the one from Paris Vaughn? I think I did about Continuum and all. Yeah, I think I did. So then that was the only one we've got other than our Chartable, which we are now number 166 in what country? I'll give you a hint. It's in Europe. Number 166 in a country in Europe.
I'm going to say Spain.
Germany.
It's not Germany, I wish. Not Spain. It's Sweden.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yep. Yeah.
They like us in IKEA.
They do. They do. It's a good show to play in IKEA to make people go through the lines faster. Anyway.
Yes. Yes. I got a couple emails.
Okay, go for it, and I'll make sure I get the voicemail that we had from like 2 weeks ago that I forgot to play on last show.
Oh,
so
okay.
Go ahead and go to that, and I'll get the voicemail ready.
So this is a pretty long email, so I'll kind of summarize it here. This is from Max Reardon, and he was talking about combining The Expanse and Star Trek. So since I don't watch The Expanse, here we go. He said he started rewatching The Expanse, and during season 2, I guess the show Earth. And he thought maybe that could be the Earth of Enterprise, so like Archer and his crew.
Well, a lot of people have said that. Yeah, a lot of people have said that early Expanse, not where they're at right now, because where they're at right now is totally nuts. But the early portion of Expanse, the first book or two before things get weird, definitely depicts what our society here in the solar system is going to look like at some point, pre-Trek or not, because there's no warp drive in the Expanse. So yeah, I agree with that. You know, we'd have colonies on the moon, we'd have colonies on Mars, we'd have colonies in the belts, we'd have colonies on moons around Jupiter. You know, I mean, we'd have people moving through those areas for weeks on end because of the time that it takes, right? So, yeah, you know, a journey out to Jupiter could take you 6 months, kind of thing, and you're going to multiple stations on the way. You know, issues over ice and water and fuel and air and all. Yeah. So, and just food and the kind of food you have to sustain yourself with is basically mush.
Are any of the stations a Buc-ee's?
No, there's no Buc-ee's. See, that's the problem. There's no Buc-ee's or Quick Trip.
Yeah, that's a problem.
I mean, that's a problem, right? So there's no Tesla superchargers in space. Okay.
Dan, do you have Buc-ee's?
No.
Okay.
What's Buc-ee's?
The gas station.
Oh.
It's a gas station chain. We don't have them in Idaho either, but I'm well aware of them from the Midwest.
Oh, no. They're all over the place in the Midwest, along with the Quick Trips and Casey's. And,
isn't their food supposed to be pretty good? Like, that's part of the deal?
At Quick Trip, yeah. Casey's kind
Buc-ee's.
of. Oh, yeah, no, it's not.
Okay.
It's not. I don't get food at Buc-ee's. That's gross.
Okay.
Although the food at Casey's and the Quick Trip isn't that much better, but I do get that food. So whatever. Yeah, no, it's not.
The Gordon Ramsay of truck stops right here.
Right. Sorry. All right, so here's our.
All right. I got one more.
Oh, sorry, you got one more.
Yeah,
Go
yeah.
for it. Go for
This
it.
one's from Paul Cooper, and he said he recently went down a YouTube rabbit hole watching the First Contact opening scene, and he said something that struck him that was kind of interesting is the fact that Warfield's prepare for ramming speed. And he wants to know, do we think that maybe Federation ships have a preset for ramming speed? I mean, George
No, they don't.
Kirk's dad did that too.
Yep.
Ramming. Yeah.
Yeah, he did, but that wasn't like a preset or anything. He just put impulse engines at full and pointed right at wherever you wanted to go. That's about all you can do.
Yeah.
I could see it being like military doctrine that they learned in some way, shape, or form. But I mean, because a shield's a shield, but a ship can fly through a shield.
Mm-hmm.
So, which always gets to the thing that always bothered me about Trek. Where's the projectiles?
Yeah, just have bullets.
Why are we not shooting bullets? Your shields are useless, and I can replicate bullets on my cargo bay all
What do you mean
freaking day long.
shields? What do you mean shields are useless?
Shields are energy based.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a kinetic bullet would travel right through it.
No. No, they deflect solid objects.
Well, that's true. The deflector does, yeah.
Because their whole strategy is they use phasers to break through the shields. Once the shields are down, then they launch the torpedoes.
Right. Which are solid objects, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always think of them as not being solid objects because the way they look when they're fired, even though it started as a solid tube and now it's a ball of light, but whatever.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
I think what it is if they started with a torpedo, you shoot a torpedo, it would detonate on the surface of the shields. It wouldn't do any damage.
Right.
Well, it better do some damage because lots of times when they're going in on something that still has its shields up, they're already firing the freaking torpedoes.
Yeah.
So, but there's always a balance. Man, this makes me think of my game, Eve Echoes, because that's always a balance between kinetic damage, thermal damage, EM damage, whatever. So I could go on about that for an hour.
They have to deflect solid objects. Otherwise, when they're at full impulse, like dust particles and rocks and whatever's floating around would just crash through the hull and destroy them.
I've got some hot sauce in the fridge that'll cause some thermal damage.
There you go. To your butthole.
Indeed. Straight fire right there. It's lit.
This is Tangent Sunday right here, isn't it? Just completely. Okay. Anything else? I got this voicemail.
No. I'm done.
Okay. Here we go. I'm going to play the voicemail. Hopefully it comes through nice and loud. Got it turned up all the way.
Hey, Dan, Daniel, and Chad. This is Scott Strongbeard Bouters. I just wanted to tell you I really enjoyed your impersonation of me the other day. It was spot on. Anyways, I also wanted to tell you that when my wife and I got married, after we said our vows, we walked back down the aisle to Faith of the Heart. It's been a long road.
That's great.
Oh, that was the end of it. Okay, I thought he was going to say something else. It was a long. You're looking at the text on it. It was like that's a long one, but that was it. Okay, thank you, sir. I appreciate you sending that in. We always love getting feedback from everybody. You can always call us on the show at 816-287-0448 to leave us a voicemail, and we will play it. No one will ever answer that phone, so feel free to just say what you want at the beep. I got a funny little message in there too, so you'll get a laugh, hopefully, but whatever. All right. That is it on the feedback, and now we're ready to go into the topic that we have been prepping for and getting ready for weeks on end. I mean, I've got stacks of notes ready to go. I've literally got a notepad here that wrote nothing on it, and here we go. 3, 2.
Talking about Star Trek in this week's topic. About the Star Trek in this week's topic.
So, what are we talking about, Daniel?
Yeah. So we were talking about the most fascist states in Trek, which is the most fascist regime. And which one do we think it is? I went
You're a real
with
Julius Caesar.
Yeah. So I have looked up the definition of fascism according to the Encyclopedia Britannica online. And it says that although fascist parties movements differ slightly and significantly from one another, common characteristics are extreme militarism, nationalism, contempt for electoral democracy, political and cultural liberalism, and a belief in the natural social hierarchy and the rules of the elite. And the rule
Okie
of the
dokie.
Yeah.
Does it have to be all of those or just one?
Traits. So does it?
Okay.
Yeah. It can have some. It can have other. Yeah.
All right.
So.
So I guess the first question for each of us is, which group, race, whatever, in Trek is the most fascist? I already know what my answer is, and it'll piss everybody off. But what about your guys' answers?
I think that the easy pickings has got to be the Cardassians.
That is an easy pickings. I think everybody would agree that they're very fascist.
They're very fascist.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, Goldicott did nothing wrong, so he'll tell you. Just ask him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Dan, what do you think?
The Borg.
Yeah. Yeah.
The Borg. I mean, they literally it's my way or the highway to the nth degree.
Yeah.
There are no individuals. You will bend to the will of the state. It's an ultimate dictatorship. You know, the queen. There's the queen, and then there's the hive mind, and that's it. There's no personal liberties.
Yep.
There's no personal property. Everything is owned by the state. All commerce, everything is owned by the state. The state being the collective.
Right.
So, I mean, I hate to make the show this short, but that's it. I'm going home.
That's it. This is like our reading on Neelix.
Yeah.
The only way it doesn't fit is that, it's not a true society because they're partially machines. They're partially machines.
Correct.
They literally do not have free thought, so they do not have the means to change their own government through rebellion, protest, anything like that. It's literally impossible. So for that reason, I will submit that it's not a good example.
In theory, there's really only one person. The Borg is really only one. It's the Queen, and that is it. So it's not really it's a group in the sense that there's lots of them, but it's really only one.
Right.
And so I get what you're saying there, but I still think it holds that that's a fascist type setup, right?
Mm-hmm.
So no free will. So
I'm gonna pick another one just because, because of those disqualifiers. But I got to say that the Romulans are pretty fascist as well.
Yeah.
They have a Senate, right?
I mean, all of them have got some characteristics of this, right? It's just where on the spectrum are they?
Exactly.
There is a Senate.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. There is a Senate. We don't know how they're elected, though.
Right.
Yeah, we really don't, do we?
Names.
We don't know if they're elected. We don't know if they're appointed. I mean, if the what do you have? What's the head of the Romulan? Is it the
Praetor?
Praetor. Okay. So if the Praetor.
Warning! Nerd alert! Nerd alert!
If the Praetor picks the Senate,
that's the only reason I thought of it. Yeah.
If the Praetor, if he appoints people to be senators you're the senator from this region, you're the senator from this region, or if the senator dies and his eldest son takes the position, I mean, that's not a democracy. Yeah, it's a Senate, but it's not.
Yeah,
they're not elected.
Think about how Shinzon became Praetor, right? So we kind of know how he became Praetor. He pretty much killed his way there.
Yeah.
Right.
So
as you do,
right? So yeah, no, that's good. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
I'm curious to hear what Chad says because I came up with another one and I'm wondering if it's the same.
So I think the most obvious thing for a fascist group in all of Trek has got to be the Terrans in the Mirror Universe, right? That would be the first and most obvious, even more so than the Cardassians, because it's all about humans only. So there's a lot of racism baked into what they're doing, and it's all about control and their domination over everybody else, which essentially is what to me what defines fascism. So there's always a little bit of a racist bent into it. So at any rate, so that's the obvious one, but that's also kind of a cop out too, right? Because it's the mirror universe. It's not the main.
I mean, it's still a faction within Trek.
It is, but it's it's in a different universe. So the main
DS9
universe,
they come over to us, so like
true,
there is some influence. So yeah.
Well, yeah. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying in terms of just where the group is based out of. So
right.
Like they're not in a different. They're in a different universe. They're not quite in a different timeline, but kind of, right? So in the main prime timeline of Trek over all of history, is kind of where I really define it for who's the most fascist, and maybe they're not the most, but they are one of, and in some ways they're one of the worst about it with some of the decisions they make, and that is the Federation. They make so many mistakes with admirals and diplomacy, and the way that they do first contact sometimes is totally botched. Like, oh no, we've been here for a long time and we've been watching you and we know everything about you and we're spying on you. And, it's like, there's a lot of little things like that, right? So that don't really add up to what I would call a democracy or necessarily a totally free. They're definitely a free society from that standpoint, but I don't know, the way that the Starfleet itself is run sometimes kind of leans a little bit in that bent, and that's the one that I have the most problem with because they're humans, right? So and it's a lot of human-centric things, right? So I'm sure there's lots of Starfleet vessels with Vulcans commanding it. I'm sure there's lots of them at some point in the timeline with Klingons manning it. I'm sure there's lots of them with all this, but it's always been very human focused, right? So that's
that's always bothered me about Star Trek. This idea they've mentioned it a couple times where there's ships in the fleet that it's a Starfleet ship, and Starfleet is the military for the United Federation of Planets, but that's a Vulcan ship. It's manned by Vulcans.
Yep.
And I just think that that's a very backwards thing to have for such what's supposed to be an advanced society. Thinking back to the baseball episode on Deep Space Nine, and his nemesis there, it was one of those ships where he's a Vulcan captain and his entire crew is Vulcan, and not that a human would probably want to serve on that ship, but if there's a opening for a warp field specialist grade 3, and a human applies for that, what do you do?
Yeah.
Do they deny his application because he's not a Vulcan? Holy shit, that's racist.
Yeah, and so
and things like that would have to happen.
Yep.
In order to have a ship like that, that's all Vulcans. So I can't see.
Yep.
It just doesn't jive with what the Federation is supposed to stand for.
No, and I think it would actually degrade the performance of your ship if everybody on that ship was of one race and not others.
Yes.
Just as it would degrade your performance of your government or your business or your whatever if everybody there was one race or another. Right?
And it's got to be the most boring ship ever, because
no shit. Oh God.
Picard, not so much Kirk, but Picard was the kind of commander who would he'd try a few things and then he would turn to his crew and say options. And Geordi would tell him one thing, Data would tell him something else, Worf would make a suggestion, and right away he'd say no. And then and then Riker would say something, and then he would pick what he thought was the best course of action and do it. And I imagine on a Vulcan ship, it would be like, suggestions. We should remodulate shields. And then he goes around the room. Yes. You have 6 people saying remodulate the shields, and guess what?
Right.
It doesn't work, and you die because there's no other options presented.
No. The Vulcans wouldn't die because they would give you a Vulcan hello, and they would shoot first because that's totally counter to their entire culture and race.
Well, no, they do say in that episode that they had met him before and realized that that's how they had to react.
Yeah. Yeah, which I
we,
kind of get, but whatever.
Yeah, you know what's one we didn't think about? The Dominion.
Yeah,
Yes.
that was, if I had to go in order here and say what's the one that is the most,
Yeah.
that would probably be right up there. The Dominion would. So I mean, at some point here, you have to pick one and say which one's the worst at it, and the Dominion would have to be because
they're pretty high up.
They fit the racist, they fit the top down, authoritarian, right? So they look down on all other races. They're the founders. They're gods. So they look at themselves as gods. So, and you can't say the Q because they don't really try to control anything. They just try to fuck stuff up and have fun. Yeah. So, pardon my language.
Yeah. What about the prophets? I mean, they had Major make a whole religion about them.
Yeah, but they weren't really doing that on purpose. Do you think? I don't think they were doing that on purpose. I don't think they looked at what they were doing as anything other than trying to provide some wisdom to people who were, linear, and they didn't quite understand that either.
Yeah. But why send them orbs and emissaries and all that? Or unless the Bajorans are completely misreading that.
Knowledge.
Yeah. Maybe.
Knowledge. They were the one race that was right there that they could see. And they decided maybe we should help. And here, give them this to help them, not realizing that would,
maybe
when you're
we just got to embrace the love of the power race.
That's what it is right there. That's what it is. Yeah. Gul Dukat wasn't wrong.
No, he wasn't.
So
very, very
well.
Right.
There's a lot of things. There's only a few things that you can really look at it and say, no matter which side of the perspective you have, whether it's the Federation or the Cardassians, there's only a few things that you can say that Gul Dukat actually did do wrong. He made himself look like a Bajoran, and he went to bed with Kai Wynn. Wrong.
It's a shame there's no monuments to him on Bajor.
There probably is. Yeah. There needs to be one in Lower Decks.
You know what? We need to start a GoFundMe to put a monument for Gul Dukat on Bajor. I bet people would donate to that if we put a GoFundMe.
Well, there needs to be a scene that's just like an afterthought, just like they did with Miles O'Brien, where there is a statue of Gul Dukat. It's on Cardassia, and it's about the worst Cardassian in history of Cardassia, right? We have to remember who our bad person was.
I'm going to change our Ko-fi account, and that it's going to say that the money is going to the Gul Dukat Monument.
Gul Dukat Monument Fund.
Yeah.
Jeez.
No, thank you. You can go around with a coffee mug in Vegas at the convention and tell everybody that. Okay.
There you go.
Arms for the poor. All right. Nice. Anything else? I mean, that was quick.
That was quick, but that's fine.
That's okay. Sometimes those can go on and on. You never know.
Well, people can tell us their opinions.
Yeah, I want to hear it.
Yeah, well, we did have a I put it up on the group and somebody answered. Hold on, let me get it right here.
There was a few.
Yeah, Steve Lovelace said he quoted Eddington saying that the Federation was the most.
Oh, you got to read that. That's the actual quote. Yeah, it's good though. I forgot. Yeah. I was going to pull it up and read it. So go ahead since you got it.
It says, "I know you. I was once like you, but then I opened my eyes. Open your eyes, Captain. Why is the Federation so obsessed with Maquis? We've never harmed you. Yet you constantly arrest us and charge us with terrorism. Ships chase us through the Badlands. Our supporters are harassed and ridiculed. Why? Because we left the Federation? And that's the one thing you can't accept. Nobody leaves paradise. Why should they want to be? Everyone should want to be in the Federation. Hell, you even want the Cardassians to join. You've been sending them replicators because one day they can take their rightful place on the Federation Council. In some ways you're even worse than the Borg. At least they tell you about their plans for assimilation. You're much more insidious. You assimilate people, and they don't even know it."
Yeah, and see, that's part of where I get my basis for my thoughts about the Federation, right? I mean, there are some things that they do that are somewhat insidious without you even really thinking about it until you really step back and think about what was said in this scene, what was said in that scene,
and root beer.
In root beer, and you stitch them all together, right? So, yeah, that was a great episode. That was a great quote. The writers really outdid themselves with that. That was good.
Looking at it, there's a question from Nick. If we wanted to answer a question,
Oh, sure, yeah. What?
Yeah, okay. He
Yeah.
says, "What would you do with Star Trek TNG, the animated series?"
Oh, I did see that question.
First off, Talking Spot. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Talking what?
Spot.
Oh, the cat. Yeah.
There's gonna be at least one episode with Talking Spot, and it's gonna be voiced by Danny DeVito, and it's gonna be amazing.
I think what I would do with animated TNG, which is funny because I asked Patrick Stewart about this at a convention about 10 years ago, and
nice.
And he said no, I've closed the door on that character.
Of course.
I'm proud of the work that we've done, but yeah, I actually busted his chops a little bit. I said, I know you've been doing a lot of voiceover work, Family Guy and American Dad, and at the time he was doing voiceovers for Budget Rent-A-Car or one of the car rental companies.
Yeah.
And I said, you've been doing voiceover work, and this is in front of the whole auditorium. I waited online to ask him this, so I'm at the microphone. And I said, you've been doing voiceover work, this, that, and the other thing. In fact, I chose my rental car this weekend based on your recommendation. Thank you very much, sir. and 5,000 people burst out laughing.
Nice.
And Patrick Stewart did the, where you hang your head because someone makes a joke at your expense. So, which that was pretty cool. But
nice.
Yeah, he said he had closed the door on that character, and they're proud of that kind of work, the work that they did, and he doesn't think it's something that he would get involved in. But still, 10 years later, I would love to see an animated TNG. And I think what they can do is you can tell 25th century stories, but at the same time do flashbacks. So, something's happening, like similar. Remember the earlier seasons of Arrow? Something would be happening in present day, but they'd also be telling the story about what happened to him 10 years ago. And they were somehow related to each other. Shut up for a minute, Chad.
That's right. This is Chad being emotional again.
Yeah. But you could do a current story, and part of that story is, I remember the time it was whatever, and you get a subplot, you get the B plot, takes place during season 4 of TNG, and it's just some story we've never heard before, or it's a B plot to the A plot from 1991. We see the other side of something. I think that would be cool.
Get that in Enterprise.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. But since it's all voice work, it doesn't matter that Riker was visibly 15 years older than he should be in those scenes. You know what does that? I've been watching that show, Young Rock. With Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah.
And I don't know if either of you have watched it, but
no.
We tried it. We tried it on a whim, and it's kind of cool. It's set in the year 2032, and Dwayne Johnson is running for president. And part of running for president is he's doing a lot of interviews, and they'll ask him a question, and he'll be like, "Well, something like this happened to me. It was 1982, blah 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 blah," and it flashes back, and it shows all these stories from his life, but the show takes place in 4 different time periods. You have Dwayne Johnson in 2032 playing Dwayne Johnson, who's running for president. And then you have 1982. There's a kid who plays 7-year-old Dwayne Johnson. 1987, you have a kid playing, teenage Dwayne Johnson. And then 1991, you have Dwayne Johnson in college. So there's 3 different actors playing him, but the supporting cast is all played by the same actors. So it's really interesting, and I think they could do something like that in an animated form with TNG.
Yeah, they could.
Picard running for president.
Oh,
there it is.
Do it.
The Federation.
Would he be? Well, here's the question: is he a Federation citizen? Because he's dead. He's robot grandpa now. So is he a Federation citizen?
Well, they would have to do. They would have. This is the thing that they should be talking about and answering in season 2, which they clearly are not. Right? with the trailer we've seen so far. They pivoted over to Q and whatever else, but there
That's
should be some answers to that. Was data, property, or what? Back to the measure of the man thing. It's never been settled, right? Were those people on that planet with
That's like the real prisoner
Sung,
who,
whoever the hell he was, whoever Brent Spiner played. Was it a descendant of Sung or whatever? I forget.
yeah. There was a real
Some
court
son.
case going right now. At least as far as I know, it's still going. This prisoner was supposed to be killed, executed, died, but was revived, and so now he's back. And so now he's saying, "Well, I served my sentence. I should be able to go." So I mean,
well, that's one way.
He's not wrong.
The other way to look at it is he escaped without serving his sentence, and now
There
he's
you
been
go.
returned. He's been returned to incarceration.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Dead is dead, not dead for 3 minutes and then you're back to life, because that's just a technical term we use. When you're dead, you're actually dead. But when you quote unquote die on the monitors for a few minutes and then come back, you weren't actually dead. That's just our technical term for it. So that'll get struck down super fast.
Yeah, probably.
That's my
Although
Chad Waldo legalese for the day.
I do like the creativity of him trying
Oh,
to go.
sure.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, that kind of thing is what's great about our society, even though it seems gross. Like, oh, he could get off on a technicality. Well, that's what our law system is there for, right? So it's there to be as robust and difficult to make sure that we don't put people away for reasons that they shouldn't be put away for, or put away for reasons that they should be put away for, right? So
well, we've solved that problem, at least in New York. We just don't put people away anymore.
Yeah. So. There you go.
No.
I was looking at fun legal cases, like weird legal stories. Like, do you remember that story about the aunt that got hugged by her nephew and then had to sue him because she got hurt? Like, happened in Connecticut a few years ago. Yeah. So the kid came running towards her and tackled her. She fell and broke her wrist, and so then she sued her nephew. People were upset about it, called her the Antichrist, that she was this horrible aunt. But apparently the reason they did that is in Connecticut, you have to get a judgment against somebody before insurance will pay them.
Yeah.
So she legally had to sue the kid to get the judgment
to activate the homeowner's insurance policy.
Right.
Yeah. There was a case. A few years ago where a guy worked for the county or the town or whatever, and so he was driving the county's dump truck or backhoe or some piece of heavy equipment that the government owned, backed into his own car in the parking lot of the of the facility.
Yeah.
Got an accident report done by the police, submitted it to the town's insurance company. He's basically saying, well, my personal property was damaged by an employee of the town who was driving a town vehicle, so the town's insurance should pay for it. And the town is saying, no, absolutely not. You're at fault. You caused the accident. And they rejected it. And then I guess since the car was in his wife's name, his wife tried to file it. And it was just, I don't remember how it worked out, but it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
That sounds nuts.
Yeah, people need to take personal responsibility. But anyway,
we don't do that anymore either.
No, we don't do that anymore.
All right.
Do we have anything else, or are we wrapped up?
I mean, you guys want to talk about Fast 9?
No.
Talk about what?
Good. Fast and Furious 9?
No.
There's
John
9 of those.
Cena.
There's 9 of those things now.
There's 10 of them technically if you count Shaw and Hobbs.
Yeah.
All I know is John Cena really, 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 really likes China. Like really, really,
and he can't act.
Really loves China. No, he's terrible. He's terrible. He's worthless.
Yep. He cannot act.
He's what you refer to as a garbage human.
Not.
I liked him in pro wrestling. I thought he was good there. He should stick to that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Looking like a giant 12-year-old boy with his jorts and tank tops. And that's what he looked like. He was just a big 12-year-old.
Yep.
I saw him in The Marine. Is
Oh,
that a movie he
God,
did?
that's a horrible
Oh,
movie.
geez. Horrible.
Yeah, and it was like the second movie in a double feature at the drive-in.
Yeah.
And I watched about 10 minutes of it. And I turned to my wife. I don't even think we were married at the time. I think we were still dating. And I turned to her and I said, "We can go." And she said, "Yes, that would be okay."
What's bad about his acting is, number one, he clearly cannot act, but he can't even act in a movie when he's supposed to act stupid. Like in the movies he's been in where he's supposed to act like a dummy, he can't even do that.
I don't know. He looks like he's doing pretty good in Suicide Squad, but we haven't seen the movie yet, so we don't know.
Yeah.
But the little clips looks pretty funny to me.
Okay. I haven't seen the clips. I don't know. I have no idea.
The trailers are pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah. He's basically the jerk version of Captain America, where he's like, I cherish peace with all my heart. I'll kill any man, woman, or child to get it.
Oh, God.
Oh, jeez.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Hey, are you guys watching Loki?
Oh, yeah. I haven't watched this week's yet, but yes.
Yeah.
That's great. That's a great show.
It
I'm
is
actually very surprised that that's so good. It's better than Winter and Falcon. I think it's better than Winter and Falcon so far.
I think they're all different flavors. It's just what do you like better?
But it's more, to me, it's more on par with what WandaVision was. WandaVision was fantastic, right? And Loki is more on par with that kind of fantastic than what Falcon and Winter Soldier was.
Style.
Yes, and I don't know. Winter Soldier and Falcon could have just been, Miami cops and they're idiots. I mean, it's just like it's just I don't know. I look back on that and I'm kind of like, why did I watch it? But anyway.
Yeah. Falcon and Winter Soldier was very paint by the numbers of what these shows normally are. Like what we expect from the MCU.
Yeah.
I did have a theory though, because we keep hearing the rumors about the new Spider-Man and all the different Spider-Men are going to be in it.
Yeah.
What if it's not the multiverse and it's just the Clone Saga? And they're just bringing the clones in.
I don't know what that is.
Spider-Man in the comics in the 90s, there were a bunch of Spider-Man clones.
Oh.
So, yeah.
I don't know. I think as Loki goes on, it sets up this multiverse thing.
Oh, for sure.
So hardcore though that it would be hard for them not to do that. Like, because if Marvel does anything right, and they do a lot right, but if there's the number one thing that they do right above everybody else, it's how they craft all of these different stories across all of these different characters and give them all this common theme together, right? There's this common push forward on an overarching story, and they do that so freaking well. Without in some cases, without you even really realizing it. Like, you can still go and watch any Marvel movie in any order, and it'll be a fine movie. You'll pick up on where things are. You won't be completely lost, other than maybe watching the Avengers, right, movies, where if you don't know any of the backstory there, that's kind of tough. But all the individual character shows, you can go and watch those without being completely like, what the hell's going on? And they hold up on their own, but yet they still fill that narrative, that overarching narrative, without that even noticing it, right? So like, I've gone back and watched a few just out of the blue here and there, and you can kind of see little tidbits of things from what was to come later were in those shows almost a decade before, right? And so they've done a fantastic job of that. So
do you
Kathleen
think
Kennedy needs to go over there and learn from those guys and come back with the real vision, or just get fired? One or the other.
So do you think they are going to undo Captain America's happy ending?
No. What I could see is they bring in a new Steve Rogers and a new actor to play him.
Yeah.
Well, that would be undoing it if it's Steve Rogers.
Well, no, it's not Chris Evans Steve Rogers. It would be a different.
I'm not talking about the actor. I'm not talking about the actor. I'm talking about the character.
From a different universe.
Last time we saw Steve Rogers, he mucked with the timeline.
Right.
He created a branch timeline Whether that branch is the actual MCU timeline or another timeline, it really doesn't matter. He fractured the timeline in one way or the other in order to give himself a happy ending. And we now know that there's this time variance authority, and it's their job to correct branch timelines. So, they kind of have to undo it.
No, because they said it on Loki that was the way that happened was what was supposed to happen.
Right.
Which means they can't undo it now.
I think we're going to find out that the leader of the time variance is going to be Kevin Feige, and he's going to write himself into the MCU. Much like Vince McMahon wrote himself into wrestling, and now we all know.
Happy.
So, yeah.
That'd be hysterical.
I would laugh. I mean,
yeah.
Stan Lee wrote himself into the comics. Why not? It would fit.
Well, I mean, there's a clip of Stan Lee in a spacesuit sitting talking to the quote-unquote observers at one point.
Yeah.
The Watchers, whatever they're called. Yeah. So, I mean, there's so many different things there. Marvel's killing it. It's exciting. I'm loving it.
I think that they should use this whole multiverse to at least not recast, but bring in a new Black Panther. Because you could do that. So technically it's not a recast of the T'Challa we know, but it's...
Yeah. And they don't need a new Captain America because they've already got one.
Right.
Sometimes I think you have to separate the character from the actor.
Yeah.
Chadwick Boseman was a great actor, and I was really sorry to hear of his passing. But the character has to live on.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
there's nothing wrong. They don't need to kill off T'Challa.
Just recast him.
Just recast him.
Yeah.
I mean, we have James Rhodes. It's not the same James Rhodes from the beginning.
We've had multiple Superman. Right. We've had multiple. Yeah.
Well, I'm talking about even in the MCU. They've recast people. The Hulk, War Machine, couple of the Asgardians. I can't remember who.
Oh yeah. Thor's friends. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
They're like different every movie.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
So.
Yeah.
Although now you have to have Thor playing Xbox or PlayStation against people with his buddies now in New Asgard. I mean, that's just you got to do that again. That's too good.
I miss that they used to do those like little one shots every now and then. Those were pretty fun. You ever see like the Thor ones, like little like mini films? Like there's one of Thor in the middle of Civil War, and he's just like, nobody calls me. I want to be there.
Oh yeah.
Part of it.
Oh really?
Yeah.
It's pretty funny.
He's sitting at a table with
the Hulk, and the Hulk
with the Hulk. It's just before the Hulk became like totally always the Hulk. He's just sitting there with Mark Ruffalo.
Yeah.
And he's like, no one ever calls, and he's like, really? I just talked to so and so today. He goes, what? He's like, everybody's talking to one another, but nobody's talking to me. And so
there's one where Thor goes to live with some dude in an apartment. And it's like, what would Thor be like as your roommate? It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's wrap it up. Let's call it a good show. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be back in 2 weeks because next week is 4th of July weekend. So we will not be on for 4th of July. Go and blow some shit up. Have some fun. Don't get hurt. Don't lose an eye like I almost did last year.
Oh, jeez.
You guys don't remember that where they came back and hit me in the face and melted one of my lenses and all that? Yeah. So it literally bounced. If I hadn't been wearing glasses, I would have been safer. But because I was wearing glasses, the way it hit right there and then bounced into here and then fizzed and melted the lens. So had I, that most of the damage I had was on my face was from the fact that it stayed right on my face.
So now Chad wears a motorcycle helmet when he plays with fire.
No, I don't wear anything. I take my glasses off. Then I can't see and I start to light everything.
So. You mean you don't wear anything?
That's good.
I don't need to know this.
Naked
fireworks with Chad.
You're killing me, Smalls.
That's not.
I got your bottle rocket right here.
It twirls too. It twirls.
Oh no!
Do the helicopter. Do the helicopter.
No.
Well, there you have it. Another episode in the can. Check us out at Trekcast.com. Also, if you would, please subscribe to us via iTunes. Leave those reviews. Subscribe to us. We'll get some numbers, get up the list, get more listeners, do more shows, have more fun. But for now, we're all done. So live long and prosper, and we'll see you next week.
Might as well ask, why is the tree good? Why is the sunset good? Why are boobs good? Man, firecrackers. You stick them in mailboxes, you drop them in toilets, you shove them up bullfrogs' ass.
I would never do that, because I'm gonna be a veterinarian.
Well, there you go. Someone shoves an M80 up a bullfrog's butt, blows him to pieces. He comes back to you to fix it. You win twice, brother. It's good biz. So you're gonna tell me that you don't have no black cats, no Roman candles or screaming mimes?
No.
Oh, come on, man. You don't got no lady fingers, buzz buttles, snicker bombs, church burners, finger blasters, gut busters, zippity doodads, or crap flappers?
No, I don't.
You're gonna stand there, owning a fireworks stand, and tell me you don't have no whistling bungholes, no spleen splitters, whisker biscuits, honky lighters, hoosker do's, hoosker don'ts, cherry bombs, nipsy daisers, with or without the scooter stick, or one single whistling kitty chaser?
No. Because snakes and sparklers are the only ones I like.
Well, that might be your problem. It's not what you like, it's the consumer.